Every Star Wars fan has probably imagined what it'd be like to be the chosen one, to be that special person destined to bring balance to the Force, the hero of the galaxy. But what if I told you that being the chosen one wasn't a gift at all? Because if you really look at Anakin Skywalker's life, everything he went through and everything he lost, it becomes clear that being the chosen one didn't make him special. It destroyed him. We're gonna take a look at what the title really cost him, and not in lightsaber duels or power levels, but in his mind, relationships, and soul. Because behind all the glory of the prophecy is one of the saddest stories in the Star Wars universe.
Are you an angel? What?
Anakin's life changed the second Qui-Gon Jinn met him on Tatooine.
Hi.
Hi there.
Before that, he was just a kid building pod racers, helping his mom in Watto's shop and dreaming about flying one day. He wasn't rich or powerful, but he was happy in his own small way. And then Qui-Gon shows up and tells him he's special, born without a father, overflowing with midichlorians, the chosen one. From that moment forward, he stopped being a kid and became a prophecy. You can actually see the shift in his mother's eyes when Qui-Gon tells her. She's proud but terrified, because she knows she's not just losing her son to the Jedi, she's losing him to something much bigger. When Anakin leaves Tatooine, he thinks he's escaping slavery, but in reality, he's just trading one chain for another. He'll never truly belong anywhere again. Other kids could dream about being pilots or mechanics, but Anakin didn't get to dream anymore. His future was already written by people who barely knew him. Sure, the Jedi Council didn't trust him at first, but once he was allowed to be a Jedi, they didn't see a boy with potential. They saw a weapon, a means to fulfill an ancient prophecy, and whether he succeeded or failed, the galaxy would judge him for it. And that's the real tragedy of that moment. It wasn't the start of a hero's journey, it was the death of a childhood.
A ship?
From the very beginning, the Jedi made sure Anakin knew he was different, and not in a good way. They sat there, discussing him like a broken weapon. Too old, too emotional, too dangerous. Imagine being 9 years old and standing in front of the most powerful people in the galaxy and hearing them debate if you're too flawed to be trained. That's the moment self-doubt was burned into Anakin's identity. Every other Padawan could make mistakes and learn from them, but Anakin couldn't, and that's because the Chosen One couldn't fail. The Jedi expected perfection from a child, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. If he showed frustration, it was a sign of darkness. If he cared too much, it was attachment. If he showed confidence, it was arrogance. He was trapped in a circle where everything he did wrong proved their fears right, and everything he did right was just expected of him. The Jedi said he was destined to bring balance to the Force, but how could he ever find balance when the people raising him didn't trust him? The way Mace Windu looks at him says everything. There's no warmth, no mentorship, just suspicion.
I don't think the boy can handle it. I don't trust him.
And when the people you're supposed to look up to treat you like a ticking time bomb, that becomes your reality. Anakin's whole life became one long test, a test he was never allowed to pass. And then came Palpatine. Now, he didn't just see a powerful Jedi, he saw a boy drowning under the impossible expectations set by the Jedi and desperate for someone to believe in him. While the Jedi lectured Anakin about restraint and attachment, Palpatine told him he was gifted, special, exactly what the galaxy needed. And it's not hard to see why Anakin listened. For years, he's been told to suppress his emotions, to hold himself back, to never love, never feel too strongly. Then along comes someone who tells him the complete opposite, that his emotions are what makes him powerful. Palpatine understood something the Jedi never did, that Anakin didn't need more rules, he needed connection and validation. And every time the council questioned him, Palpatine was right there to twist the knife. Maybe they don't trust you because they're afraid of you, he'd say. Maybe they're jealous. He said it with kindness, but it was poison, because slowly Anakin began to believe the Jedi were holding him back, not to protect him, but to control him. And if you tell someone that long enough, eventually they'll start looking for freedom in all the wrong places. That's how manipulation works. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens through quiet words, well-timed empathy, and just enough truth to make the lies sound comforting. Palpatine didn't corrupt Anakin despite him being the chosen one. He corrupted him because of it.
Don't make me kill you.
At this point, Anakin wasn't just living one life, he was living two. To the Jedi, he was the chosen one, the perfect weapon of destiny, but to Padme, he was just Anakin, a man who wanted love, peace, and a family. but those two versions of himself couldn't coexist. He couldn't be the perfect Jedi and a loving husband. He couldn't be the chosen one and a human being. And that contradiction was eating him alive. His secret marriage to Padme wasn't just about love, it was rebellion. It was his way of saying, this one part of my life belongs to me. But deep down, he knew it couldn't last. The Jedi would see it as a betrayal, and that fear of being discovered made him live in constant anxiety, a double life where every moment of happiness came with guilt. The prophecy made him believe that wanting a normal life was selfish, that caring too deeply was dangerous, and that love was weakness. And that's what broke him. Because how can you save the galaxy if you're not even allowed to be human? By the time of Revenge of the Sith, the pressure was unbearable. Every decision he made felt like the fate of the galaxy was riding on it. Every nightmare, every loss, every death, it all became his fault. When his mother died, he didn't just grieve, he blamed himself. When Padme was in danger, it wasn't just fear, it was panic, because if he couldn't save her, he wasn't just losing his wife, he was failing the prophecy. Anakin started to believe that any action, no matter how dark it was justified if it meant saving the people he loved. That's why Palpatine's promise to save Padme was so effective, because for Anakin, this wasn't about gaining power, it was about not failing again. The prophecy had conditioned him to believe that failure was the greatest sin, so when he felt like he was losing control, he grasped at anything that could give him the illusion of control, even the dark side. The more he tried to prevent loss, the more he caused it. The more he tried to control fate, the faster it slipped through his fingers. That's what makes his story so haunting. He didn't fall because he wanted power. He fell because he couldn't live with failure. And then comes Mustafar, the moment where everything, years of pain, manipulation, and pressure, finally exploded. It's easy to see that scene as a fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan, but really, it's a fight between destiny and identity. Between the prophecy he was chained to and the human being who just wanted peace. By the time the lava settled, the Anakin we knew was gone, and what was left wasn't a man, it was a machine. Anakin's body was burned, his voice destroyed, his freedom erased. The boy who dreamed of freeing slaves became a slave himself, bound to a master, trapped in armor, forced to serve a lie. Years later, when Anakin faced the Emperor, everything came full circle, because Luke was about to make the same mistake Anakin did, to give into his anger and become what he swore to destroy. And for the first time in decades, Anakin saw it clearly. He saw his own reflection in his son's fear. That was the moment the prophecy truly ended, because this time, Anakin didn't chase power. He didn't try to control fate. He didn't act as the chosen one, but he acted as a father. When he picked up Palpatine and threw him down that reactor shaft, it wasn't destiny speaking, it was love. And that's what finally brought balance to the Force. Not power, not prophecy, not the chosen one, but the most human thing imaginable, compassion. He spent his entire life trying to fulfill a destiny that only brought him pain, but the moment he let go of it, he found peace. When you step back and look at Anakin's story, it's clear that the Chosen One prophecy wasn't wrong, it was just misunderstood. Yes, he brought balance to the Force, but the cost was his soul. He lost his freedom, his body, and his family. He lost everything that made him human, and that's what makes his story so powerful, because it reminds us that greatness isn't about destiny or power, it's about choice. It's about being human enough to fall and brave enough to rise again. Anakin's tragedy teaches a lesson that goes far beyond Star Wars. When you let other people define your purpose, you lose yourself. So maybe the Force didn't choose Anakin because he was strong, but it chose him because he was flawed enough to be human in the end. And if you made it to the end of this video, I would greatly appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to know which city is safer between Coruscant or Mos Eisley, click this video right here.